Okay, well let's go back a bit because we'll talk more about after you met Grandpa when we talk to Grandpa as well. Let me think what I can ask. What was your favorite subject at school?
I loved French,
Mm-hmm.
and I used to like arithmetic. I hated geometry and things like that.
Yeah.
I wasn't the brightest student, but I managed to pass.
Right. Was it common for girls to finish matric in those days?
No. Some of my friends left school in standard 6. Their parents couldn't afford to let them go on.
Yeah. Was school not free?
It was. I don't think parents paid very much for school. I remember my mother used to give me 2 shillings and 6pence every week to put into the post office, and I was classed as a rich girl because I had 2 and 6pence. And that accumulated, you know. When I got married, there was some money. Also, when I started working, I was earning £7 a month.
Yeah.
And my mother insisted that I give her £2. And I didn't know that she was putting that £2 away every month in the post office for me.
And you thought it was to pay for your board and lodging at home. So, how long was your business college? 1 year?
1 year.
And then
Just under a year, and then I got this job. And I was happy at the job, you know. We worked from 8:30 to 5, had our lunch break. We'd often meet a whole crowd of us in town and go and have sweet corn on toast or something that cost us about 6pence.
Yeah.
And I had very happy childhood memories and teenage fun, you know, and then had to be home 11 o'clock at night at first, and then if we were later than 12, there was a whole ruction. My dad was walking up and down.
Where did you go to in the evening?
We had parties, a lot of house parties. And we'd go either walk or tram. Now and again one of the boys was lucky enough to have a car, you know, and we'd go in a car. I remember one boyfriend who I knew, his father was an insurance broker, and he had a chauffeur, so we were taken around sometimes by the chauffeur. Go to Hillbrow after a party and to the Golden Ray restaurant, I think it was.
Oh, in the kitchen. Okay, you were saying?
Good.
So you were going to say something about your mother?
Yeah, my mother did keep a kosher home, and then the rest of the family used to laugh at her. It's funny, they were all kosher when they came out from Russia, and none of them kept it up, but my mom kept it, you know, sort of, we had a kosher home, not as strict as Harry's family, but we used to go to shul down the road in Kimberley Road, a little shul where Joe had his bar mitzvah, and then when we were older we used to walk to all the shuls, to Warmram Street, I've forgotten, and then the day of fasting we'd all go to Jabert Park and all the boys and girls would meet there.
On Yom Kippur?
On Yom Kippur.
And what kind of religious education did you get?
Unfortunately not a lot. I didn't go to Cheder for long. I went and then I said to my mother, I don't know what they were talking about, and I'm sorry to this day that she didn't encourage me to go on. But
so how did your Boba, did you call her Boba?
Boba, yes.
How did she was very religious.
Yeah,
so how did she feel about it?
Well, when she was alive, you know, the home was strictly kosher. And then eventually she was living with my eldest aunt in Benoni. And then eventually she went into a room on her own in a very religious house. You know, and she used to sit nearly all day just on her chair, just praying and davening and davening. And she died like that. She must have dropped her siddur. She was about 85. And they found her bending over trying to pick up her little book, and she had died in the morning. That's how she died.
I remember once you told me a story about a key, that she hid a key or something, or that you could take the key from her and she didn't notice while she was davening.
Yeah, that's right. A key for her drawer, a special drawer. She didn't want it in. I looked through it and there were just little books and little, nothing of importance, but I don't know why she wanted it locked. She was a lovely person.
And do you remember how old were you when she died?
I was 12 and absolutely heartbroken because they wouldn't allow me to go to the cemetery. You know, a girl of 12, she mustn't go to the cemetery. So I went to stay with friends across the road, and when I started going out with Harry, then he took me to Benoni and we went to see where she was buried.
And that was your first time? And so you don't remember how she felt about all her children not being so religious?
Never spoke about it. Funny, Julius Baker, who's still alive, he was her eldest grandson. He said he couldn't take her all her religious cult, but he was very left, and as a matter of fact, he was one of he was with Mandela, but he managed to get out before he went to jail, and his brother Louis was put into jail at the time with Mandela.
Your uncle?
My cousins, first cousins, the Bakers.
Right. And on Shabbat, how did you observe Shabbat in your home?
We observed it, but not strictly. You know, I used to ride and go out and...
Yeah. And your Boba just stayed at home? Or was she in Benoni?
She was mainly in Benoni. And every Sunday they came to us, and every Sunday she gave me a penny or a tikkie.
And then your siblings, you only had Joe? Your brother Joe, who was older than you?
He was born in London.
And did you get on with him?
Very well. He spoiled me madly. We used to fight, you know, brother and sister, but he was always my babysitter, and my mother didn't have a nanny, and Joe was there.
Did you have a maid?
No. At the end, when I started going to Athlone High School, we stayed in a sort of a bigger house, and there was a full-time girl. But Mum did most of everything.
She didn't work? Did your mother ever work? No. And Yiddish, how much Yiddish was spoken?
Well, my mum and my aunt, and they always conversed in Yiddish, but my dad was born in London, and his family didn't speak so much Yiddish. My grandfather did. The first time I met my grandfather...
On which side? On your father's side?
On my father's side. I was the only grandchild that he had never seen, because they left London when my mum was pregnant. And they never went back to London, my mum and dad, and it was only after I was married to Harry that we went to see him.
That you met your grandparents?
She died, I never met her. She died when my dad was small.
So you met your grandfather on your father's side after you got married. And how old was he then? Very old.
He was in his 90s, but very fit and very well, and he walked a lot. And he said that when he came out
From where?
from Russia, he had a long name. I can't remember what name. Something. I've got it written down in one of my books. I must let you have it. A long name. And you know, when they were going through immigration and customs, they just went like that, and they called him Abram Barnett. But it was like a Kopolovsky sort of name. So the family were Barnett. And he was Abram Barnett. Very religious. My uncles were very religious.
In England?
In England, my dad's family. And to this very day, when I go and see one or two are allowed, they still keep kosher homes.
Really? And are they still called Barnett? In London?
Yeah. As a matter of fact, in Stanmore, my dad's eldest brother opened up a kosher delicatessen shop. You know, it was just a small place, according to what my father said. And then eventually it went bigger and bigger. And when Dad and I first went, Grandpa and I first went to London, he had this shop, and then his son ran it. And today it's still called Barnett's Kosher Delicatessen, but Indians are running it.
Is it kosher?
In Stanmore, people are buying them. Celia said they keep kosher stuff there. And my other uncle had a kosher hotel in Brighton. So his family, although very Englishy, were very kosher.
And where in Russia did they all come from? Do you know?
I don't know where the Barnetts came from.
I
Because
remember.
my dad was born in London. His father came out as a young boy.
And on your mother's side, whereabouts in Russia?
I can't remember when I've got that written down. I know it was on a border. All the family had left, and my grandmother was there with my mother and her sister. And I know they couldn't buy food because they were Jewish. They couldn't get some. Bobba used to make them long petticoats, the children, and put like pockets in and go over a border. And should go and smuggle through food because they didn't search the kids.
And the kids were your mother and her sister.
So she was very young, I can't remember.
And your grandfather had already died?
No, he went out to London first with some of the other children. I said they went straight to Benoni, they did stop in London.
Yeah.
And my mother's father died in London.
So, okay. Do you know when they went to London from Russia?
Well, they were in the East End. He did tailoring, wouldn't work on Shabbats, and they battled.
When did they go in? About 1910 or something like that?
No, it must have been before. My mother got married in 1912.
In England?
In England. And she went to school. They must have come out about 1900.